Is this a coffee thing?
This is a coffee, but this is actually tea.
This is a tea thing, actually.
This is a tea thing. Trey Canard blend.
It's the blend. You can get it at Tivana. Just ask for the Trey Canard blend.
Okay, so this is almost like welcome home because you're welcome home back to riding.
Yeah.
How long have you been back on a bike?
Yeah, I've been riding for 4 days. It's been like a span of 2 weeks, but have had some traveling to do, and it's actually good because the way that we wanted to do it is to space everything out. That way, everything is kind of getting used to it again, because the way that with the atrophy from the surgery and just like the spine, how it's all working, and they had to fuse those vertebrae, so everything below and everything above is having to work harder. So just making sure that that's all good, and then making sure that not kind of going too fast, because you definitely don't want to mess with that fusion and the rods in there. So so should still kind of take it fairly easy for another month or so, but it's just fun just to, like, I just been doing corners, and it's like, it's a blast, That's cool.
I bet your whole first moto, you got dirt in your teeth from smiling the whole time.
Yeah. The first time I rode, actually, we didn't really prep anything. I just kind of rode. Greg, my practice mechanic, just kind of dozed like a section, and so it was like flat and like hard, and I just kind of like getting speed wobbles, and I don't know. It was pretty fun, but it was weird because if I was riding like every day, I would have been like, oh, this is lame, it's terrible. But I was just riding around like a little kid, so it was cool.
How was that the longest you've ever been off a bike?
Yeah. Before that was like probably 4 months, for 4.5 months for my femur, but the first time I broke my femur, but that's the longest, six months exactly.
So you've done a lot of cool stuff in that time since. Big B told me that you went to Africa like on a missionary type thing.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome. I'd love to hear about that.
Yeah, it was a blast, man. It was. I'd been wanting to do it for a few years, but
schedule doesn't permit.
Schedule, yeah. I mean, it's just crazy. By the time you reach the last race, you're like, you either got more testing to do, or you just kind of want to like chill out a little bit. But that's the first thing I really thought when I got hurt. When I heard 6 to 8 months, and I called the guy that I was going to go with, and I was like, hey.
Wait, are you serious? One of the first things you thought when they said 6 to 8 months was, oh, I can go now?
Well, yeah, that, and then riding. It's like there's, you just, when you're so used to doing stuff, you don't want to. You're like, well, what do I do now? Kind of thing. So that was like one of the first things I thought of. Like, hey, I can go to Africa now. That's cool. I don't normally get to do stuff like that. And I called the guy that I would go with, and I'm like, hey, guess what? I can go to Africa now. And I just kind of planned straight away. And
is it a trip that the church does every year or something?
Yeah, they always go like May 26th, and it's somewhere in that area, somewhere in I guess it would be, is it Memorial Day or Labor Day? I get those confused, but so yeah, that was cool. I was gonna go the year before, but I obviously kind of was hurt and definitely on crutches at that point. But I wouldn't get to go with this group, so it was cool because I got to go with like a bigger group, and that kind of made the whole deal a lot more fun. So
where exactly did you go? What was the town name? Start with a Z or something.
No, it's called Arusha, Tanzania.
Tanzania.
Tanzania is a country, and where we were staying was called Arusha. We did pretty much all our work in Maji Chai, which was this little village, and we stayed in Arusha, and it was about an 1.5-hour drive to Maji Chai, because it wasn't really the distance, but the roads, and then like the overpopulation, because I mean it's crazy, like going down a two-way street, there'll be a traffic jam and people just start going like this, and then there's like goats and cows and chickens and people on bicycles and people with stuff on their head, and people, they carry these carts, man. It's like they put like a car engine on one, just carrying these carts. But it's that part was pretty wild, but it would take us about 1.5 hours to get there every day, and two, we would see a wreck like every day, like multiple wrecks sometimes, and I was in a wreck once, and
Well,
it was pretty crazy.
Okay, so Jimmy filled me in a little bit, but I heard like if you get in a car accident in Africa and it's your fault, they like just shoot you or something, or
Yeah, they beat you alive. I mean, it's pretty crazy. It's like how the whole thing works there. It's like full justice, you know. If you do something, steal something, you know, it's like it's enforced, you know, by the people. The police are pretty irrelevant there. I mean, they're basically, the police are just making money off people, you know. So, so yeah, like, so we're in this car wreck, and you know, we're kind of going down the road, and there's these things called dollas. They're just like these transit things, and they just stuff them full of like 30 people, and the people that drive, you know, they're just natives, and they're just pinning it, you know, trying to make an extra buck. And we're going down the left side of the road, which is kind of awkward as an American, and pulls onto the road and hits us, and then knocks us into oncoming traffic, and then there's cars coming our way, so our driver rips it off the road, and then there's a dude on a motorcycle just sitting there, and we saw like the whole deal. The guy's like that, and full like, you know, we like dumped him, you know. So,
over the dude or just
over the dude. The bike went that way, he went that way, and then we couldn't stop, and we just so we stopped, and the driver just like kind of sits there for a second, and then he just takes off, and I'm sitting there going like, you gotta stop, and everyone in the car, you know, that doesn't know is like, you gotta go back. But he drove straight to the police station, and he was in jail for like 4 days because there was white people in the car, and Zugus, and so they tried to squeeze some money out of us, but we had to bail him out, and he was good. But yeah, I guess if they see you and they see that they feel that it's your fault, and they didn't know, if they see that just a car riding over a motorcycle or something like that, they will beat you like alive there.
Really?
Yeah, it's.
Well, how was the guy that got run over?
He was okay. Yeah, I thought we killed him. That's why I was freaking out when we were taking off, because I'm like, dude, we just killed that guy, you know, and we're just leaving. And
when I was little, my mom hit a dog, and I remember the way it felt when the car went.
Oh yeah.
So it must be even gnarlier knowing it's a dude.
Yeah, dude, I was like that. It was just like, I was just in shock really for a couple days, and there was a couple girls with us, and they were pretty shook up, and I was pretty shook up, so yeah. It was pretty crazy. But it's just wild how it works, you know, like that's how the whole country works. Like one day we're in I was in like the church, like doing this seminar thing, and the girls that were with us were doing kind of like I don't know, they were with the kids. It was like a VBS type deal, and it would start out with like 10 or 12 kids, but the kids from the community, like the village, they would see other kids, and they would kind of just like keep filtering in. So it'd be like 60, 70 kids sometimes, and this little kid like punched this girl, and I look out the window and I just see like 60, 70 kids running like after this little guy. And they chased him into this like maize field and just like beat him up, and that was it. It's crazy how it works.
Eye for an eye.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. Like I asked one of our translators one day, because we're kind of strolling through this village, and I saw like multiple times, I saw like 9-month, 10-month-old babies just sitting there on the porches, like kind of by themselves. And then you'd stroll up to there's little stores where they're selling like whatever, you know, they sell like used plastic bags and stuff, but you go up to these stores and then they just leave, and I'm like, people are like really trusting. And he's like, well, if you do something wrong, you're in trouble. So just full justice system down there. It's pretty wild.
So you were there were you giving sermons and stuff, or were you, like, I think Big B said, oh, he's delivering water to Africa. That's what he told me. But I mean, what exactly were you there to do?
Yeah, so our biggest focus was, like, we did a seminar with this church for a week, and then we were just basically there just teaching the village there just the Bible. You know, walking around, and we'd be like, hey, do you want to study the Bible? And you know, like 80% of them were like, yeah, let's do it. You know, it's kind of crazy, because here, you know, if you did that, you'd either get in like a yelling match, or you might end up beat up. But but it was really cool how open the people were. It's just they're like, yeah, sure, you know, let me just sit here in my business, you know, and do it. And we invite you into your home and that kind of thing. And then we did the seminar with the church, and just kind of we're teaching and trying to help them out any way we could. And then we did another thing called I think it's called Water for Life, and that's like the biggest issue down there is water. Like even if they get it from the wells that are drilled down there, a lot of the time it's polluted, and there's like all these parasites. So they drink the water, and then these basically worms like go into their liver and a lot of their organs and lay their eggs, and then it just starts multiplying, and that's kind of the biggest cause, and they have no way to medicate it, you know, because there's basically no kind of care down there. So that was one of the things, you know. What it is basically is it's like a filter system. So you would build them there and basically take a 5-gallon bucket on top and bottom, and then you'd have the filter in the middle, so they could get water from anywhere and just pour it through, and they'd have clean water at the bottom. So so that was pretty cool. It's crazy, you know. The water thing is as an American, it's terrifying, you know. Like you drink only bottled water, you know. You don't brush your teeth with, you know, the sink water. You don't, you know, when you're taking a shower, you're like doing one of those, you know. There was a lady that got sick with this on our trip. So
did she get the worm?
Yeah.
Oh, like from the shower, you think?
I think she brushed her teeth.
Oh.
So yeah, it's crazy. But the food, like they were feeding us like the first couple of days. Like I actually ate the lunch, but I was like, I quit doing it, man. My stomach started to get like real uneasy. I'm like, man, I don't know. It's pretty crazy. There's some mystery meat in there, for sure.
So did you see like, were like elephants walking around and lions chasing you? I mean, you know, as an American, you just all you know about Africa is what you see on TV and National Geographic and stuff. I mean, yeah. That's the only like really wild animal you see is like monkeys. Like, and that was kind of weird because you just see monkeys just chilling out. Like we stopped at a fruit stand one day, and there's like probably 10 monkeys like sitting on this bar, and they're like throwing them apples or bananas, and they're just like chewing them up. But the way that it's kind of worked, like in the open, like there might be some lions or anything, but everything is pretty populated there. You know, there's a lot of people down there. It's a big country, but there's a lot of people. So my understanding is that the national parks are kind of where it's at. But we went on a safari for 2 days, so got to see lions and elephants and zebras, and it was pretty crazy. I got to see a lot of stuff. So it was that part of it was pretty wild. Like the giraffes were like super cool. I really liked that part. That was pretty cool. Awesome. So when you go and minister to these people, and you say they're pretty receptive, I mean, that had to be pretty rewarding as being a Christian guy and going and ministering to some other guys. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of strange, you know, because you obviously stand out there as a white dude, especially with red hair, you know. It's like they just like were they wanting to touch your hair?
The little kids were like always just like touching me and doing that kind of thing. Like I showed them my skin, like you could touch it and then it like gets really white, and so every day they just come up to me and just start poking me. Like, this guy changes colors, so cool.
He's a chameleon.
But yeah, it was awesome, you know. Like we studied with like groups of people, and we just come in and hang out with them every day, and yeah, it was crazy, you know, like to see how open they are, and they didn't just shut you down. Like even if they really had no interest, they'd at least listen to you for a little bit. And
so did you have a translator, or did they speak English? Or?
Yeah, they speak Swahili, so we had translators. You run into a few that do speak English, but there's very, very few. This one time I remember a guy that spoke English. Like we were doing a study, and it's funny because if people see you like congregated, like 3 or 4 of you, like people just start to come. Yeah, they're just like, what's going on in the village, you know? So they come, and this dude just comes and he grabs my Bible and he just like takes it from me, and he just starts reading, and like I didn't know what was going on, so I'm like talking to my translator with him back and forth, and finally he goes, wait, I speak English. I was like, it's kind of strange, but yeah, it's mostly Swahili, so you're pretty much translating the whole time, but you start to pick up on the language a little bit when you're there, and
it's kind of cool. But when they start talking fast, that's crazy.
Can you speak any Swahili now?
Oh man, on the spot. Just the little stuff like habari asubuhi means good morning, how are you? You know, just little stuff like that. Asante sana is thank you very much, and karibu is welcome, and let's see what else we got here.
But is that how you say it, just casually like that, or do you have to put a emphasis on some of the syllables?
No, you just like really it's a pretty easy language. Like I say easy, but it's like it's got a lot of rhythm to it. Like they kind of like back forth, and there's like a bunch of like they say things twice. So motorcycle is like picky, and then like
say a picky racer.
Yeah. That was funny. I showed him a picture of my crash, one of our translators, the dude I got in a wreck with, Nestor, and he was like, oh. He's like, he pointed and he goes, when you're doing this, you're calling Jesus and saying, come get me.
Oh, no.
It's pretty funny, but that and like picky and like poli means slow, and whoa means big butt, stuff like that. You know, it's kind of funny, you know. Everything is like in rhythm. Like there's a lot of things that kind of don't make sense to us, but it's pretty neat language.
So do you have any like pen pals from there now, like or like?
Yeah.
They don't have like email and stuff, do they? Or some of them?
It's so funny, man. You'll be like walking through the jungle and there'll be people on their cell phones.
No way.
I'm like, how do they plug these things in? They have no electricity, but they've got cell phones. But it's crazy, like the technology, because it's still there. Like it's pretty wild to see. Like everyone has an email address, but I'm like, you know, you barely have a couch. Like, where's your computer? You know?
Yeah.
So there must be some sort of like local thing they can go to. But yeah, I got an email last week actually from one of our translators. Actually, the guy I had dinner with, his name's Emmanuel, and he was just like, greetings, how are you doing? Email me back. Practice what you preach, because I told him I'd email him back, and he's like, you must email me back. And then that is all for now. Greetings. It's hilarious. They're so intense, man. Like they'll be talking and it's like full like finger point, like, you know, I would say stuff and it would be like kind of like what I would consider kind of like pretty gentle and like not too abrasive, and then like it would translate and they'd be like pointing fingers and like kind of yelling, and I'm like, dude, like calm down.
Is that really what I said?
But that's just how they communicate. It's just really intense, and it's pretty funny though when you get them to laugh, because it's pretty comical. It's pretty good.
Okay, so Jimmy wanted me to bring something up, and he said that you like found something else in Africa.
Oh no.
I think he said rocks my socks.
Rocks my socks. Yeah, I don't know.
You made a friend.
I made a friend for sure. I was like, I'd kind of told a couple of people. No, there's this girl, I've been hanging out with her, and like, so where's she from? And I'm like, well, I met her in Africa. It's kind of a, you know, we're kind of having a hard time like hanging out. It's a pretty long ways, you know. She's from Africa, but no, she's not from Africa. But it's kind of funny. But yeah, just friends. It's cool, man. I'm pumped. I'll tell you that.
So I mean, you know, they say everything happens for a reason or whatever, but the crash, the injury, I mean, it allowed you to do something that you've always wanted to do, but didn't have time to do.
Yeah.
Right. So.
Yeah, you know, it's crazy, kind of how life goes, you know, like the first injury, it's like last year it was like, yeah, I can kind of get through this, you know, I've done this before, and then, you know, right off the bat you get hurt again, and it's like, all right, well, you know, that's cool, I can do this, and then I broke my collarbone right off the bat, and it's like, dude, man, what am I doing wrong here? And you know, and then you break your back, and it is like, there was a week where I was just like devastated, you know, like, especially the week that I got out of the hospital, I was like, because the phone kind of dies down, and then the visitors kind of die down, and then you're kind of just sitting there like, what do I do now, you know, kind of thing. And and I think that's like the time to get you most down. But then I look at it, you know, and I see things like that I've been able to do that I haven't been able to do in a long time. Like I've got to spend a ton of time with my little brother this year, and like we went to a concert. You know, I've never been to a concert before, and it was a blast. You know, we went and rode some roller coasters and just little things like that. You know, that you don't really think about. You get to do, and like I've got to see my family a lot, and I've got to do like 5 or 6 camps. You know, that kind of thing, and you know, meeting the people I did in Africa was like huge. You know, getting to meet people that are close by and just good people was awesome. But Africa was like, if there's one thing that I can be like, dude, that made the whole thing worth it. You know, that was it. You know, it's like gave me something there that it's I don't know, like I don't know if I could trade it. You know, it was just an unbelievable experience, and it just changes your perspective and kind of a little bit your whole outlook, you know. So I feel like I'm a huge believer in that, you know, that there's kind of a grand master plan, and you know, I feel like that there still is, you know, and I think that I'm kind of striving for, you know, a good comeback and kind of that whole thing, and I just hope that like at the end of the day that there's a story to be told, and that like it can really like inspire people and give people hope, and kind of when they see like kind of Ryan and I, you know, back riding, and get to hear things like this story about Africa and other things that are just have happened. It's like I hope that it like people see that and they're like, man, that's cool. Like whatever I'm going through right now, like I can do this. You know, it's not that big a deal. So. I'm pretty excited about it. I think that it's definitely been a huge summer for me. You know, it's been painful and at times like terrible, but I look back on it and this is like one of the better summers of my life. You know, so I'm thankful for it, and I'm hoping that I come back and kind of bring everything full circle and have a pretty neat story to tell someday.
Did you ever consider retiring, or did you ever think about not racing anymore?
Yeah, for sure. Like I don't really remember it, but like apparently that's the first thing I told Jimmy. It was like, dude, I'm done racing. Like I can't take it. But as soon as I was kind of there, you know, my 3rd or 4th day in the hospital, I'm like, so when can I ride, you know? So, you know, it's kind of crazy. And there's definitely been times, you know, where, you know, it's like, dude, like, can I do this anymore? Especially when you see your competitors and they've been riding for 6 months and getting better and stronger, and you're like, man, I don't know, like, can I really kind of keep doing this and be competitive? And, you know, and then there's the fear of the injury. It's like, man, it's like a serious deal, and you know, I kind of have this track record of, you know, 4 injuries right in a row in basically 6 months, you know, and big ones at that. Dude, do I continue to do this or what? But, you know, what it comes back to me is I feel like, you know, I've prayed about it a ton, I've thought about it a ton, I've talked to people about it a ton, and I feel like that this is where I still need to be. You know, I feel like this is still what I need to go for, and the opportunities are still there for me, and that's something huge. You know, like with Honda, you know, redoing a 2-year deal with me, and Fly, you know, doing a 5-year deal with me, and all the other people that are continuing to support me. That to me is huge, and that to me a little bit is answer to prayers. You know, that the opportunities are still coming in, so. I think I should still do this. So, and the itch is still there. You know, I think when that dies, that's like you need to just quit. You know, because I see it and I'm excited about it. You know, like I want to ride and I want to hit jumps. You know, and I want to just rail corners and I want to race. You know, at the end of the day, like watching races, I'm like, man, I want to be up there battling with those guys. And to me, that's it. You know, the desire is still there, and the opportunity is still there, and I'm gonna go for this deal and do the best that I can. And I think, you know, at the end of the day, that's all I can ask for. You know, if I weren't to do it, I feel like that it would just eat me alive. You know, it'd be like, man, like I could have done something maybe, you know, or I could have continued to race. I could have, who knows, I could have won a championship. And to know that I have the opportunity and I feel like the skill and that thing, it's like I want to continue to do it. I want to push for it and do the best that I can. And that's, like I said, that's all I can ask for is to put my best foot forward and kind of have a decided heart on it and push for the best. So I'm excited about it. It's kind of a cool deal because it's like a second chance for me, you know. You know, it's been a long time since I've like raced, and it feels like I almost like went into retirement and coming back in, and it's kind of like a do-over, and I'm excited about that because I feel like I have a better kind of outlook and a better perspective, and you know, a lot of things are going in the right direction. So I'm excited about it. I'm going to do the best I can and I try to have a good outlook on things and kind of have the whole year what I kind of left Africa with, you know, which is just contentment and a drive to just do the best that I can, and we'll see how it goes. I'm excited about it, and just getting to ride is a blast too. So
cool. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, thanks, man.